Radio in motion program loading in 3, 2, 1. Program activated.
Attention everyone, the unpleasant noise you are about to hear coming from your radio is not a mistake.
Okay, first things first, what is your name?
This is Big Sonny playing the best of the 90s and beyond.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah. Radio in motion.
Please do not turn off your radio, but turn up the volume on your receiver as high as it can go.
All right, here we go.
Radio in motion.
In Excess, What You Need, live at Wembley Stadium, 1991. That is a great tune, all part of tonight's very vinyl on Radio in Motion. I'll tell you, Michael Hutchence, he's one of those great frontmen, not to say enough, of course, for In Excess, local Australian pub band, made good and, enthralls the world. But Michael Hutchence, especially, he has had tragic loss, all the ingredients of a great frontman to be able to enthrall and command the crowd and just have them eating out of the palm of his hand, 100%. And there are certainly a lot of others in history, but he's one of the ones that certainly stands out for my generation. And no, not just the women swooning over him. Frankly, everyone in the crowd. In Excess fans, some of the best fans, and it's too bad he's not around. But thanks for joining me tonight on our very vinyl. And right now we're gonna have another installment of The Ugly Truth, and the truth can be ugly, but it can set you free. And the ugly truth, folks, is Hollywood has had a lot of stinkers lately, a lot of bombs. And look, that's not the first time that happens. It happens throughout history. Movies are hit and miss. Fans are fickle. I get that. But I think, they've had a bad run, and a lot of it is because, and I've talked about this before, like any piece of art, whether it's art hanging on the wall, whether it's music, any expression of art, anything put together by a culmination of ideas and people, the writers, the actors, the directors, the cameraman, the crew, everything. It's a beautiful, chaotic symphony of harmony. And when it comes out the other end and people appreciate it, it's awesome. And like I always say, that should always be the driving force behind anything, behind inspiration and music, and yes, with movies. And yes, like anything else, it is also a product. Someone asked me today, how do movies work? Are there investors? Yes, and there always have been. There always have been, and nowadays it's even more so. It's more like it used to be more something that just happened in Hollywood. There were the backers, and not just the movie studios. Someone is still behind the studios. Someone has to put up the money. But nowadays it really is almost like a stock market thing. Someone is hedging their bets and putting their money down on the next big hit. And unfortunately, that's the problem. It became too engineered and industrialized. And I do blame a lot of the hero movie movement. And I'm sorry. As much as I love all the amazing Marvel comic, they had a good 10-year run. All those movies, they were really, they had a plan. They had a structure. And unfortunately, I think we've just been saturated too much. And the whole, DC Marvel comic movie hero theme, I do think it needs to cool down. But I suppose I blame that a bit as that it became the industrialized cookie cutter thing. Okay, we have the product. Place hero, do thing, make crowd come, make money. Worked for a while, not working so much lately. And the problem is it became more about the drive to just create a product, content for content's sake, rather than everyone to get together to go, you know what? I believe in this, and we're going to, at any cost, we're going to make it. I'm not saying that doesn't still happen. I'm not saying that the people involved aren't passionate. It's not their fault. But another thing, and I'll talk about this a bit as to what I think is going to happen, especially this summer. It's always the big summer blockbuster, and, movie studios are counting on that. And the past few years, it has been lackluster, to say the least. And a lot of that, I will be honest, is because they're not trying to create something for the audience or themselves. And again, when I say audience, You can cater to a niche audience, and that's fine too, as long as that audience shows up. Otherwise, you do have to sort of cater to a general audience. But when you put, I'm going to be honest, propaganda and politics in front of your movie, it doesn't help. And frankly, that's what's been happening. And Disney's, unfortunately, one of the biggest culprits is the message, as we call it, as in, have movies always had a message? Of course. Anyone who writes it or directs it, everyone puts part of themselves in it. And if a message came out, whether it was about being, heroic or a father or a mother or, the parents or someone, the hero, the protagonist in the movie, at some point has gone on a journey. And, you can call it the hero's journey. That can be anyone. The point is they come from somewhere where they were struggling or they had to change something in themselves. And by the end, they have learned something. They have come out on top, and maybe they have defeated the enemy. Whatever it is, you go on a journey with them. And nowadays, that seems to be lost in that it's just about the message. Someone has to, pound it into your face. And what I'm saying is, I feel like movies of the past had a message, but they were conveyed in a way that was entertaining and interesting, veiled within the movie. That's the point. You came out going, yeah, I really connected. I really felt that. Now, it's pretty much in your face message, here's the message, whatever it is. And again, there's a lot of forced propaganda, and it's just not working. I don't want to get into that too specific here. You can look that up yourselves or however you feel about that. But again, I feel in general, when there's any sort of ideology gets in front of just making a good story, it all came from, cavemen. We're just sitting around the campfire and we are spinning yarns. We are telling stories, legends, and other people are taking that story. Maybe they add to it and they adapt and they pass it down generation to generation. That's all a movie is. It's a story. But now it's all about this industrialized message, and it's not working. It's not working for Disney. So coming up this summer, I think there's some interesting choices for the movies that might come out on top and actually winning the audience back. Now, this first one I'm going to talk about is Minecraft. So Minecraft, I'll be honest, I was sort of very much wrong about this movie. Look, first of all, I have no idea anything about Minecraft. As much as I am someone who's into games, I've certainly missed the boat on that one. And it is obviously a huge, kids go crazy over Minecraft. So they already know the market, and that's fantastic. But when I saw the trailer for the movie, so for those of you who don't know, Minecraft is based on the game Minecraft that, every kid in preteen, I'm sure, knows exactly what it is, and they're playing it as of right now. So that's already a built-in audience. But when I saw the trailer, like a lot of gaming, movies adapted from games, I just thought it just looked cheesy and kind of lame and cheap. And again, the CGI looked like it was thrown in afterwards. Green screen heaven. And I don't want to be mean, Jack Black, he has been hit and miss over the years. I'm not saying he is not talented. I love Tenacious D, but I was like, really? More Jack Black? Jason Momoa? Okay, sure. I was thinking this wasn't going to be a thing. Well, this is where I was certainly wrong. Apparently, right now, Minecraft is kicking butt at the movies. And I will say that's because I do think it has a built-in audience. I do think it is, families bringing their kids. And hey, again, for the movie studio, who cares? As long as, they make a profit. And they absolutely will. This movie, yeah, it is. It's going to be huge. And also, I heard this. I've been watching a few YouTubers who are definitely in the know as far as gaming adapted to movies. And what they're saying is, as much as maybe the door, well, it's not closing, but the market's getting fickle with so many comic book adaptation to movie, that the gaming industry dwarfs even the movie industry. And if you do look that up, that is true. The money not only spent but made is crazy insane, even compared to Hollywood, even compared to the music industry. So think about that. The gaming industry is massive. It is a force to be reckoned with. So I do think coming up, you're going to see a lot more movies adapted from games. And again, this is nothing new. Resident Evil was certainly an example of one that kept going. I think that was hit and miss as well with popularity. And of course, everyone gets involved with how, true it is to the material. Oh, it's not, this is wrong. Same with comics. Everyone tears it apart. If you're, a diehard fan of a certain comic and you go, oh, that's not the right shade for Superman. And everyone, yeah, that's fine. You're allowed as a fan to do that. But, and the gamers will do this too. Tomb Raider, another one, obviously popular. Sonic, look, I think they're fun, but even that one's getting a bit old. Warcraft, Angry Birds, obviously, everything is up for grabs. I was actually disappointed and interested in the Assassin's Creed because I liked the game, and the movie I don't know where they were going with that. So all of these movies were hit and miss. I don't think they were all blockbusters. But it looks like Minecraft is going to be amazing. And the other thing, and I'll point this out, this is the key to making money in a movie, getting people to come back and see it again. What do kids like to do? Well, if you've ever, you have kids or grandkids, you're babysitting your relatives' kids or whatever, kids like to watch stuff over and over again. So unlike adults who are one and done, I bet this movie is going to have another huge weekend because it won't drop off, because the kids are going to go, I want to see it again. I want to see it again. Today, tomorrow. And parents are like, whatever. You've worn me down. So that's a built-in market. That one's going to work. Minecraft. And that's Warner Brothers. So Warner Brothers, good move, smart move. But on to Disney. Look, Disney's offering coming up is, they're the Marvel product. IP. They've destroyed Star Wars. I don't even want to talk about Star Wars. I'm that emotionally stressed about what they've done to anything Lucasfilm related. Indiana Jones, Star Wars, ruined them all. But Disney is not doing well. They've got a few bombs in a row, not only critically but commercially, and the commercial part is the part that hurts. And you'd think they would wake up. I think they are. But it's slow. It's too slow to change sometimes. Like the movies coming out now, are obviously movies made, a couple years back. And so the changes, they won't be palpable probably for a couple years. Right now, I feel like we're going to be in the intermission stage. It's in a lot of the leftovers. And again, Snow White, I won't go too deep into that, but if you just look up Snow White, whatever side of the fence you're on, it's a bomb. It's a bomb as far as financially a bomb. Critically speaking, that's a different story. Also, not too good, I'll be honest. And I do not blame Rachel Zegler or Gal Gadot. I do not blame the actors. Again, I think this is studio trying to create a product and make a cookie cutter thing, put out the message, make sure it ticks all the boxes, and this one didn't work. When you're talking the budget, and they're never fully clear about this, but this always comes out in the end. To spend, 250 to 270 million, this is not including marketing. And people forget marketing is huge. If you don't get the word out there and pay every social media content, and yes, they still do billboards and TV ads and, magazines, it all costs money. Apparently, the figure is closer to 410 million all up. It's a lot of money. And you think, it must have made, a few hundred by now. Nope, and nope. It has not even come close to that. It is officially a flop. And I'll be honest, again, there were a lot of reasons why that was. Taking one of their classic, honestly, the animated movie that built that empire, as much as it is Mickey Mouse, Snow White was a huge animated hit. And the way it was done, the animation, the way it flowed at the time was breathtaking and amazing, and people were enthralled by it. And to take such a product and try to, again, I'll be honest, make it for modern times, it doesn't always work. Sometimes people just like the simple story. Another one is Captain America: Brave New World. Did not do well at all, critically or commercially. And again, they're just trying to force a product. And that's it's a difficult one with a character, Captain America, that has a huge history. And yes, I will get into this only slightly right now. It doesn't help when, again, you're forcing something because you think the audience wants to see this, and you're trying to, again, like tick a box. And I'm going to talk about gender swapping or race swapping, and it only goes in one direction. I do think that's interesting. And in this case, it's quite sad and pointless because that wasn't the reason, but people notice that. They take a character. Again, it doesn't matter if it's a movie that came out of someone's imagination, but if the character is established and there are all types of genders and colors of characters in comic books. And, I bring up someone like Blade. Blade, still, Wesley Snipes will forever be Blade in my mind, and he is awesome. And that was the character in the comic books. A awesome, powerful African-American vampire man, awesome. And that's how he stayed and was portrayed brilliantly in the movies. Now, what if they said, I think it should be a white guy? It would never happen in that direction. Oh my God, the person who said it would immediately burst into flames. But I'm saying, why is it they have to say, oh, well, we need to change the character up. If it was a man, it has to be a female. If it was a white male, it needs to be a black male. And I just don't understand the point of it if it has nothing to do with the story. And sometimes people don't take to that, and it just makes no sense, And it even happens in documentaries, but only in one direction. What if someone said, I think the best person to portray Martin Luther King would be Matthew McConaughey? Of course not. Nobody would do that. But in the other direction, why not? Anyway, I don't want to get too deep into that. I just don't think there's no point in it if you're just trying to tick a box to make someone happy somewhere who's filling out some paperwork. The thing with Captain America is that character was already well established. And what's sad? I don't blame Anthony Mackie. He's an awesome actor. I love seeing him in things, and I loved seeing him, as most people do, as the Falcon. That is a role he could have totally made his own, and already was making his own, and could have fought side by side with Captain America. So again, that one has a whole legacy of just bad decisions. It's not the actor's fault, not the character's fault. It's Hollywood trying to tick a box, and people can see it. It's palpable. And no, it's nothing about race or ideology, but it's just makes no sense when you do it arbitrarily just to do it, and it makes no sense. And people know you're doing it to again make sure you put across the message. So anyway, Disney has a long way ahead of them. I don't think they're gonna have a good summer on their hands. I do want to talk about Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 2. So look, this is an amazing franchise. I cannot believe this started in 96 with Tom Cruise, being interested in this. It just was a television series, and saying, well, let's adapt it to a movie. And I didn't really think back then. I didn't really see that it was going to go anywhere beyond the first one, as much as the first one was fantastic. But yeah, this is almost 30 years later. The culmination of, Tom Cruise, frankly, being a Hollywood legend. And he has certainly taken on this role and, for the most part, kept an awesome continuity. And obviously this one will be the culmination of his character, and I think they're going to tie it all the way back to the first one, which is really fascinating. And that's how to do it right, by the way. Respect the original material. This is why all the new Star Wars movies failed. They had no idea what they were doing and just throwing spaghetti against the wall and seeing which ones stuck, and none of it stuck. This series, even with different directors going back and forth, the first one, Brian De Palma, the first Mission Impossible was really like a film noir, dialogue-driven, a paranoia thriller kind of movie, and awesome in its own right. And then, of course, it's evolved into still fantastic writing and dialogue and well-arced characters and plots, but let's be honest, driven a little bit more by action. And again, nothing wrong with that, because the more Tom Cruise brings it, the more the audience comes to show him the respect. And that's the other thing I want to say about Tom Cruise. Whether you like him as an actor or not, or as a person, he has always, and he has proven this, respected the audience, and always made sure he's let that known that he wants to bring them entertainment. And he always, one of the best was when Top Gun Maverick came out, and Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, the first one, was still coming out. There was this trailer played at the movies of Tom Cruise before Top Gun. Basically, and of course it was still the COVID years, thanking the audience, thanking them that as long as you show up, we're here for you, and everyone who's part of this movie has worked hard to bring the entertainment for you and how much joy they get out of it. Not a lot of, he doesn't have to do that. That's my point. He doesn't have to do anything. He can just sit in his Tom Cruise house, wherever that is, in some sort of rejuvenation bubble, since obviously he's not aging as fast as all of us regular humans. He doesn't have to do it, but he does. And you've got to love that. He respects the audience. So yeah, I'm very interested in this one. The Mission Impossible, I do feel like for me, I feel like there's a trilogy within all the Mission Impossible movies. And that's, if you're a fan, Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, and Fallout, all the same director, which is good for continuity. But you could watch all those back to back. I've actually watched a couple of those back to back. You could watch all those, and it flows so well, like a giant, awesome, huge movie miniseries, and fits together so well. So even right there, that's a win. But yeah, I think they're gonna pull out all the stops. Watch the trailer if you haven't seen it. No, it's not just about what's Tom Cruise gonna do next. Well, I think, no spoilers. It's in the trailer. I think he's gonna jump off an aircraft carrier into the ocean. So I'm just saying, yes, he pulls out all the stops. He's on a biplane doing stunts, hanging on, with just his hands as the wind rushes. Why not? As long as he can still bring it and do it, and if he wants to be the stunt man, we're not going to stop him. I always laugh and think about, when he sits down in the meeting, because again, like I said, movies are big money. They have big backers. If you lose your star, you lose money. And it's not funny. And, there's probably the insurance stooge who's sitting there, and Tom Cruise goes, hey, okay, so I want to be on a plane and jump off the plane and land on another plane and then land in the ocean. What do you think? The insurance guy's probably like, no, that's never happening. Tom, that's not happening. There's no way we're going to insure you if you're going to jump off a plane and land on another plane. But somehow, I don't know how, he convinces these guys. Again, this is not, I hope that you understand this is him. Maybe there are parts of it where if he can't do it, he's not an idiot. They're only going to let him go so far with any stunt, okay? His stunts are part of a whole stunt where and he takes pride in this. He is doing that one part. He is falling from the plane. He's jumping off the motorcycle into the chasm. That is him. Of course, there's an array of stunt people who are doing some of the most dangerous things, but that's their job. But in general, a lot of actors, they just don't go the full Tom Cruise, and he does. So good on him for being able to convince the insurance stooge to back the actual top billing star to do that stunt. And he's hurt himself. I forget which one. I think it was Rogue Nation. He was jumping onto another building, and bam, he hit the edge, and he broke his foot. Again, it heals, but that's not funny too. Every day they're not shooting with the main character. Any delay, I just said how much Snow White cost, and there ain't no stunts in that. Hundreds of millions of dollars are ticking away. So good on him for convincing them to do these stunts, and he's going to bring it. So Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 2. Yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm on board. That is going to be one of the last, Tom Cruise, he's one of the last Hollywood stars. Now we just have celebrities. We have influencers, actors, and that's lovely. But there's no Hollywood stars. I'll be honest. He's one of the last, as in has, I don't know, it's just something around them that really, really draws people in a special way. The other one I'm interested in is F1, which looks like a love letter to Formula One with Brad Pitt. It gives me Ford versus Ferrari vibes, which is a good thing, because I think that movie was great. And of course, if you haven't seen Ford versus Ferrari, definitely check that out. Not even just if you're someone who's into cars, but that story, the reason why that one was great is Matt Damon playing Carroll Shelby and Christian Bale playing Ken Miles, the driver. It was about their relationship, and that's based on a true story, and that's what's awesome about that. And yes, Ford actually did beat Ferrari in the 1966 Le Mans in the GT40. So again, if you're a rev head, that stuff's awesome. But if you're not, you can watch that movie, and it's just so cool to see their journey and their relationship. So that's, again, good story, good content, good origin based on a true story, but turned into a movie and added drama. Awesome. And so Formula One with Brad Pitt, it seems like it's, and again, this could be formulaic, but it's a formula that works. It's the older racer who has had his big wins and he is a legend, but maybe he's getting older and he's getting closer to that point where he's had his day. And then there's the new up-and-comer who he's, maybe the rival of, but also has to be a mentor to because someone told him to. Again, that's, kind of like some Days of Thunder action. Like, oh, come on, show him the ropes. Don't be like that. And they're like, yeah, I'll show you the ropes. I'll show you. I'll slam you into the car. That, if it's done well, I don't mind that story. That's cool. Maybe he's got one more win in him. And it already looks fantastic. Obviously, they're going to go all out with bringing, I don't know, not that you need to know this, I have worked on Formula One before behind the scenes with television production and anyone who's a fan of Formula One, being there live, it is just amazing. The sound of those cars is unlike anything else on earth. It is the peak epitome of engineering, and if you're into the sound of an engine, Formula One is fantastic. So I am pretty sure that the people behind the movie will bring that vibe as much as they can to the screen, and that is cool. Much like Top Gun Maverick for jets, and anyone who's into jets, which I'm also into jets, who wouldn't be? It's cool when they bring that and bring a good story. So excited for that movie. Jurassic World Rebirth. I really don't care. I've actually written this in my notes. I don't care. Why do I care? I don't care. Not that I don't think the Jurassic Park, I'm sure it's look, there's rides, there's lunchboxes and stuff, and that's great. But for me, as far as a movie, look, 1993, by the way, how long ago was that now? Steven Spielberg, I didn't even think about at the time how awesome it was while I was looking at, but I challenge anyone to watch that movie, the original Jurassic Park from 1993, and tell me whether you're someone who geeks out like I do about special effects, and whether you know about special effects or not. Just sit back as an impartial observer. I challenge you to tell me what in that movie doesn't look real. I'm being honest, because that was the culmination of the top of everybody, the top artists, the top people on the cusp of just the start of CGI and mixing that with animatronics. Frankly, from the T-Rex to the Velociraptors, and again, the story, the music, the acting, the directing, that is a movie. And Jurassic Park is fine unto itself. It doesn't need a bunch of sequels. And yet, to this day, that movie holds up very well. The first time they see the dinosaurs and Sam Neill's reaction, kudos to the actors, because if they can't sell it, you won't buy it. When it turns around to show the dinosaur, it's awesome. You go, yeah, that looks fantastic. So what I'm saying is, that one's fine. A couple of the early sequels, yeah, all right, it's fun. This is interesting. Maybe the story could go further, but by now, I just don't care. It's the same story. That's the problem. It's the same story, what happened? Well, some rich family was on a yacht, and the kid got trapped on the island. We have to rescue them. What? There's a new dinosaur we have to capture because it might cure cancer. I'm just saying, whatever the cockamamie, MacGuffin is they have to find a way to get someone to the island that has dangerous, deadly, killer dinosaurs that will kill you the minute you step on the island. So something has to compel you to go there. So it's just stupid. No one would go there. It would be cordoned off. It would be, or all the dinosaurs would, it's just, I don't even want to. See, I'm starting to get stressed about the ridiculousness of trying to find a plot to get people to go back to Death Island. You know what I mean? Like, reboot it and start a new story, because you keep continuing it on where everyone knows what happens when you go to Jurassic Park. Welcome to Jurassic Park. Death will ensue. Why would you go back? Everyone knows by now what happens. Did they not read the newspaper? Did they not listen to a podcast? Another family was killed on Jurassic Park Island because they were stupid. Anyway, I don't care. It's got Scarlett Johansson. I don't care. I'm moving on. I'm putting this one in as a bit of a zinger. This one does not come out in the summer. It's not coming out till October, but I have to talk about this because I'm a huge fan. This is Tron Ares, and this is a sequel to Tron Legacy from 2010, which is a sequel to the original Tron. Now, again, there's people 100%. This one's pretty divided. You either like Tron or you have no idea and don't care. So for all of you that have no idea and don't care, I'd like to and try to entice you now, but I'm more speaking to the people who care. Tron, okay? 1982. Now that was a Disney win, and at the time, I think misunderstood because people didn't even know what the heck they were looking at. This is a CGI movie before that was a thing. Computer generated mixed with a live action, and of course Disney were the ones to pioneer that. Again, I won't geek out too much, but think of it. It's 1982. Personal computers aren't even really a thing. Macintosh isn't in the home, IBM, but the idea is there. There's commercials, there's some things out there, there's little spheres on things, and they're able to start to make grids, and okay. But think about this. You have all this equipment and all these super, they have movie people and nerdy computer geeky people, and they're all geeking out, and they're trying to create these computer generated images when there is no real way to just, I'm not saying it's easy these days, but a lot of times there is a couple clicks and a button and something is rendered, and then you watch back on the screen a rudimentary version. Oh, I don't quite like that. Add some more shading and let's do this. None of that was even a thing, folks. Picture this. Someone is just on a computer typing in numbers, just typing in code, typing in vectors to where they think the thing will be. And then when they put it in, the computer takes hours, computers the size of a refrigerator, to spit this thing out. They can't watch it back on a screen. There is no computer screen. There's no way to even visualize it on a screen. And I know people are like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm talking about putting all that work from their mind, from a drawing, into the virtual world, having no idea what it looks like, and then having to print it to film in order to just see what it might look like. Do you understand what that means? They're called dailies, and those can be watched back nowadays, and even in the 80s and 90s, just on video. Immediately check, oh, that sucked, before we go through the rigmarole of developing the film. Yes, movies used to be made on film. They could quickly check it to make sure it was right, and they could redo it. There was no way to do that. They had to wait until the film was developed, projected on the giant screen in the studio, and then they would watch the computer graphics. Oh, that worked. Oh, that didn't work at all. So think about this to make a 2-hour movie. That was the process. So again, already that is an awesome legacy. And the Tron story, whether it's that compelling or not, I think it's pretty cool. By the way, it's a precursor to anything you've ever seen in something, like The Matrix. Okay, they already were envisioning that. Everyone, The Matrix, that was the first time anyone envisioned that there could be a virtual life in the computer world. Nope, that was Tron, 100%. That was what happened to Flynn. He literally was taken from the human world into the computer world. The Matrix, if you so please. So yes, a pretty cool legacy, and Tron Legacy 2010 was a pretty respectful sequel, and yes, of course, the CGI in that was awesome. And to this day, by the way, I can't believe it's 2010. It's been that long. That movie is also very awesome and a very worthy sequel. And so this one, Tron Ares, again, it shows it in the trailer. And also this was alluded to at the end of Tron Legacy, that some of the Tron world, the inhabitants and computer programs of the Tron world, they are coming into our world. So, yeah, okay, that's a pretty good plot. Worlds will collide, the real world and the virtual Tron world, the grid. So that's cool. And also, yes, I can't deny the soundtrack. The soundtrack was Daft Punk from the previous, and now it's 9 Inch Nails. I feel like that's a natural progression. That sort of makes sense. I'm not saying it's better or worse. It's just that makes sense. Daft Punk, awesome. The perfect soundtrack married to the awesome, stunning CGI graphics, 9 Inch Nails. That will be the next one. The only thing I'm a little worried about, Jared Leto. God love him. I like him, but I feel like he's a man in search of a franchise. He just can't stick anywhere, whether it's, Joker or Blade Runner or Marvel characters, it's like, where do we put Jared Leto? How about Tron? But anyway, interested, excited. They have my attention. The other one, this is a granddaddy, and this is a character you don't mess with unless you've got it right. Superman. So, we've all gotten over the Christopher Reeve thing, yes. In many people's minds, he is Superman, at least from my generation. He is the embodiment of Superman and what Superman stood for, that he had all this strength, but he didn't act like that. Superman is humble. You know what I'm saying? He is the strongest man on earth, and he is humble. He could rob every bank on earth and kill you all, but he decides to help you. I'm just saying, he is one of the cool and most interesting, comic book characters. And like they say, the interesting thing about him, to compare him to like Batman, and I always say Batman he's the night hero, Superman's the day hero. Batman, he wears the bat suit. That is his disguise. He is Bruce Wayne, but Superman is the opposite. His Superman suit, that is, his outfit. That is his mother made him when he was a baby. The blanket, that's the real him. He is Superman. The disguise is Clark Kent. You know what I'm saying? The disguise we put on the glasses, he is putting on his human disguise. So I think that's, again, Superman. Great story. But being done again, and I'm like, off the back of Zack Snyder's with Henry Cavill. And by the way, I think Henry Cavill was great. He also really did embody Superman. And I would love to have seen him again. 100%. Zack Snyder, some people didn't like that he went way dark, but what can I say? That's Zack Snyder. You either like his color palette or you don't. And I didn't mind Man of Steel. I still watch that to this day. I like Man of Steel. I think it's a great representation of Superman. But again, I feel like, can you just let it be? We can let it be. I don't need another Superman. I'm happy to stick with Christopher Reeve and a little bit of Zack Snyder and Henry Cavill. So this one is going to be done by James Gunn. Now, James Gunn, I'll give him props. He has brought us Guardians of the Galaxy. He has done well. Suicide Squad, like his style. Love Guardians. It's great. But is that going to fit? Is that going to fit with Superman? You know what I'm saying? There's a fine line between being a bit lighthearted and funny. And you can't just be funny all the time. There are times where Superman has to be serious. So Superman, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm on the fence with that one. That's going to be a huge one if it doesn't do well. And I've got Fantastic Four here. I don't have much to say about that. I'm not sure how audiences are going to take that, or if they're even interested in seeing another Fantastic Four. I think it's interesting. I get it. They wanna maybe make it more true to the original, but I don't know. I put that in the meh column. Sorry. What I do have here, and this could be a total disaster, but I feel like Thunderbolts, which most people are like, who the heck are they? I was the same. I think Thunderbolts could be a bit of an underdog. I think it could be interesting. So Thunderbolts is kind of like they're the ragtag group of misfits, kind of like the Guardians or Suicide Squad, in that they're in the Marvel universe, and apparently the Avengers, I don't know if they're all on vacation or they're not there. Anyway, there's no standard superheroes to fight the villain that's in the story. So they're kind of like Suicide Squad. They're the only group that they can get to do it. Interesting, not a bad premise. I'm into it. And their pseudo leader will be the Winter Soldier, which was a very popular character and pretty cool. And I only just found this out. Very interested. So the villain is a character called the Void. I don't know much about that, but apparently he's all powerful and badass, which is good enough. But being played by Lewis Pullman, that's awesome. Yes, son of Bill Pullman. Love Bill Pullman. And Lewis Pullman, he sounds like him. It's awesome. So I think that's great. So Thunderbolts might be an underdog sleeper hit. I don't know. So we'll see how we go. And I'm rounding this off by not a summer hit, but a movie that's coming out April 24th, and I'm going to be running to see it, The Accountant 2. if anyone is a fan of The Accountant, and if you haven't seen it, go watch it. Ben Affleck, John Bernthal. By the way, Ben Affleck, John Bernthal, you realize that's Batman and the Punisher in the same movie. But that's not why. Great movie, great story. Without too many spoilers. Yeah, The Accountant, he is someone who was brought up by his military father, and they portray him as a child as having a form of autism. And frankly, his father's not wrong. Could have gone down the road of needing a lot of help and support, and sort of being sort of helpless and leaning into, you might say, this mental challenge, although many, as you say, and in this case is something to be used. It's a benefit. It's an amazing, as many people say, especially if you have autism or Asperger's, there's an amazing focus there. And that can be, focused into something amazing. And so his dad goes down the route of getting him to harness and deal with his autism and sort of being able to have like hyper focus. So anyway, he's super smart, which also comes with that in real life. So he's very smart, like a mathematician smart. And he's like a mathematician crossed with a super badass military fighting guy. So that's The Accountant. So how cool is that? He is the accountant for all sort of nefarious underworld people. But when danger comes, he can also have an array of weapons and kick ass. So that's a pretty cool character. So The Accountant 2 coming out. I highly recommend that, from the original in 2016. So those are my thoughts on the upcoming summer blockbusters, hits and misses. Not sure how you feel, but we'll see how it goes. Hollywood definitely needs a win because they've had too many misses lately. All right, that's the ugly truth for tonight. Thanks for joining me on our very vinyl episode of Radio Motion. More great tunes up next after a word from our sponsors.